Ah, the Middle East. All I was ever taught about it in high school is that it is a heaping pile of bombed out rubble, but here we are in Bahrain, seeing how the other half lives. Now, speaking of heaping piles of rubble, hey Chris, how's the car?
Hey, good to see you again. The factory sent over the parts that were looking good on the rig. They're being fitted as we speak. Have a look at the report.
No wonder I didn't become an engineer. All looks like gibberish to me. As if it's written in Latin or something. Wow, gotta love this. Many, many thousands of dollars spent to increase downforce by 1.8%. No wonder everyone thinks we F1 people are crazy. So, despite my stern objections, we're running on mediums as part of the testing for the new floor under tray. It's supposed to reduce weight, but we need to see the impact of the new weight distribution and airflow pattern on grip levels with each compound. And this compound in particular feels like it needs an entirely separate setup to work properly. Unlike Australia, our pace here feels a lot better. The car might be unstable, but it's quicker. A full second over the qualifying benchmark quicker.
Fantastic lap. That's beaten our secondary target time.
This really is reassuring. We can reasonably expect a top 10 place in Quali. 5 through 7 on the grid is not a bad place to be for a team taking part in only its second Grand Prix. Just going to go ahead and sign off on the under tray upgrade. Here's to hoping it'll be ready by the time China rolls around. With all those high-speed corners, the less mass we lug around, the better. The results of P3 proved just as reassuring as P2, so I began qualifying in relative comfort. The first segment breezed by as I put in only one hot lap, and a very sloppy one at that, but it was quick enough to easily get us through. Q2 saw me hone in on the limits of the car and set a much more refined 133.091. Although this landed me in a provisional P6, several hundreds off of Ricciardo, I realized that both of the Red Bulls set their times on softs, not only demonstrating a terrifyingly quick pace, but also setting up an alternate tire strategy for tomorrow. Now we wanted to squeeze as high a grid position out of Q3 as possible, so we went on 2 hot laps, one towards the beginning of the session and one towards the end. For the back end one, I let out the car in front of me as far as I dared and crossed the start-finish line right before the end of the countdown, rocketing the car towards corners 1 and 2. This is a traditionally problem area for the Haas because its corner exit traction feels like a cow on ice, slipping and sliding the rear end this way and that. But we rocket down the second straightaway here towards corner 3, braking right before the 100-meter mark and slapping that inside curb just as much as we dare. Pushing the car on throttle towards the exit, we'll prepare for the side-to-side, sacrificing this right-hander as much as we can in order to gain extra speed out of the left towards the braking zone here, braking and hitting in late apex to gain extra traction on exit. Not quite successfully, losing about a tenth there towards quite possibly one of the hardest corners on the F1 calendar. Braking in as straight of a line as possible, soft on the brakes, trying not to lock up, hit a late apex, and rocket down the back straight, DRS open towards Sector 3. Sector 3 is once again nice and twisty. We brake at the 75-meter mark, hit a mid-apex, and push the car wide on throttle. Quick dash to the left again to then gain extra turn in on the right, locking the steering wheel much farther than we normally would expect. Brake late here, hit a nice mid-apex, push the car on wide on throttle again, gain extra speed down the entirety of this straight, the last straight before the last corner of this hot lap here, completely even with our previous lap time, riding over this curve as much as we dare and pushing the car, managing that oversteer just a little bit, and then DRS open for a lap time of 1:32.7, the best one of the weekend for me. Now this landed me in P7. It's the same as Australia, ironically enough, just not as satisfying, but it'll do.
The curtain rises once more then on the desert stage of Sakir as the players take their places for the opening act. Will they enthrall us like they did in 2014 with that titanic battle between Nico Rosberg and Lewis Hamilton? Well, we'll find out shortly as we get underway here in Bahrain. Well then, after an exciting qualifying session yesterday, let's take a look at how the cars line up. Lewis Hamilton lines up on pole position, with Nico Rosberg alongside. Looking down the rest of the grid we have Vettel, Raikkonen, Daniel Ricciardo and Verstappen, a Haas, Bottas, Massa and Carlos Sainz, Hülkenberg, Perez, Kevin Magnussen and Palmer, Kvyat, Ericsson, Felipe Nasser and Fernando Alonso, Button and Wehrlein, Rio Harrianto, and Esteban Gutierrez completes the grid.
You're above where we expected on the grid. Be careful not to lose places, as there will be faster cars around you.
See, our biggest problem currently is the car's grip levels, which we alleviated with increased aero, but that means that we're now painfully slow on the straights, to the point where in practice I couldn't even overtake a Toro Rosso with slipstream, and that's ridiculous. Even though we have competitive lap times, we'll be completely helpless on defense. Now, what if we could do those fast lap times without any grief from the other cars? I bet almost everyone will probably go for strategy 1, so I think we'll go for the alternate strategy and offset myself from the rest of the field. That way we kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Avoid the mediums we hate so much, and lose less time attacking and defending. Hopefully it'll gain us back that extra pit stop time.
Okay, our system checks are good. We need to stay in formation and start bringing the car up to temperature, please. Get some load into the tyres and work the brakes. We want them nice and warm by the end of the lap.
Dan Ricciardo was right in front of me on the grid, so he strolled over to me during race preparations, right? He's got his headphones with him, and he asks, "So, what does Vincent Miller listen to pump up?" Now, I actually don't listen to music when I'm getting shit done or getting ready to get shit done, because it's just too distracting, and every track has its own internal rhythm that I try to sync up to, and the music's rhythm would totally throw me off. But I thought, you know what? Since he asked, I gotta fuck with him. I mean, he's an Aussie. He's got a great sense of humor. So when I do listen to music, I do a lot of Five Finger Death Punch like a true American. But I figured, nah, that name just kind of gives it away. He'll know what to expect. So I tell him that I love me some Amada Marth. Now, I thought he'd just be like, all right, and maybe way after the race, a couple weeks later, if he's curious, he'll look it up. But right then and there, he pulls out his phone, tabs over to YouTube, and starts tapping away. And I'm staring at him, just saying to myself, Vince, he's not ready. Meanwhile, he's tapping away like, oh yeah, Deceiver of the Gods, that sounds nice. Nice? Vince, he's not ready. And the song starts playing like, now, 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 and he's like, oh, that's so nice and peaceful. Then, and he's just like, you know, and yeah, he wasn't ready. So now he's sitting in his car over there, not exactly sure where he is in the space-time continuum. Great entertainment for the whole family. So the team's psychologist told both me and Esteban to stay away from social media for obvious reasons, but of course I still sneak a peek every once in a while. The latest excuse from the Gutierrez Grosjean fan club is that I just got lucky in Australia. But as the lights come on, I say let's show them. Let's show them that they are full of shit. Bahrain, let's go. Okay, not a bad start, though not as great as last race. And again, I'm thinking I'm going to gravitate towards the outside. Hopefully, if nobody drifts out into me, we'll be on the inside for the next corner. Okay, good. Hello, 0 miles an hour. I did not think he'd break into there, to be honest, but doesn't matter. The Ferrari's our next target. I think that's Vettel. He's getting pushed wide on the outside, so we can try to line up right behind the Mercedes. Shit! Sorry. I just lovingly punted him off the apex. Now Vettel got a better exit. We're going in side by side through the S's, pushing the very limits of our grip, just trying to extract every inch we can before we get to the braking zone of the next corner. We're on the inside, and we got him. Whew. All right, that was so exhilarating, I pretty much forgot all about the contact with the Mercedes, and that's actually something we need to clarify as soon as possible. I think I just tapped the Mercedes. Do you have any damage?
We're looking. So that's a negative. Downforce levels seem good. So, the stewards are investigating us for a track limits violation, turn 2. 4 wheels off the track in turn 2.
I had nowhere to go. I was avoiding a collision.
It's not up to us now. Just keep going. We'll keep you posted.
How does it even work if the Red Bull I passed off the track is 2 or 3 spots behind me? Do I give all the positions back, or is it a time penalty? Whatever, I'm not in the mood for either. I can't believe I'm actually attacking a Mercedes. His tire temperatures must have been way worse than mine at the start, and that's what's letting me latch onto his slipstream. I outbroke myself. I see what he wanted to do. He tried to do the classic crisscross on me, but I guess he just didn't get the traction he needed out of the corner exit. Lucky me. I really hope the Ferraris can keep him busy. I already feel him picking up speed.
Update for you. The stewards took no further action for the track limits. Nonetheless, be extra careful with the corners now. We won't get that lucky in the event of a second investigation.
See, this is all great news, but it does not help the fact that there's a Mercedes dangling off my ass. I can actually feel the pressure, and my driving is going straight to shit. Oh, just take me already. Oh, and there comes the Ferrari. We're going to go 3 wide? No. Rosberg's ducking into my slipstream. Oh, he just cut the Ferrari off. Wow.
We think there's a viable strategy change available to us. Would you like to keep to the current plan or try the new one? So the gap to our teammate is 4.6 seconds.
I'm hit. I'm hit. I need air support. And suddenly they're all gone. I literally can't see anyone behind me.
How does the car feel? Is there any change in behavior?
It feels alright, I think. No puncture?
Rear right is where they made contact, but it looks fine as far as we can tell. Update us if you experience any changes.
Copy that. When am I coming in?
Okay, the pit window has opened. Pit window now open for you. Okay, you have 3 stops remaining. 3 stops left in this strategy. Your pit window is open. Pit window is open. Pit in.
So it seems like I didn't even need my fancy alternate strategy to be able to drive with no one around me, but I'll stick with it anyway. The way I see it, mediums pose a really high risk of ending this race in a barrier. The pit entrance on this track is really tricky too, actually. You come in right off the track full throttle, so if you lock up just a little bit, that's your ass on a stake for speeding in the pit lane.
Go, go, go. Okay, 2 stops left now. 2 stops.
Damn, there's a lot of debris on the side of the track still. How much would it suck to get your brand new Super Softs punctured on pit exit? I'm not really sure if these guys are a lap behind or if they're about to pit, but either way they're really slow. Looks like a McLaren and a Red Bull. 2 wide into 9-10. These guys are insane. Okay, I see. So the McLaren is a lap behind, but the Red Bull's still fighting me for position. Got it. And that means he's on the same softs that he started on. Whoa! I feel like I got less traction on fresh Super Softs than he does on worn softs. And hell, he got into Q3 on them, which is a feat in itself. Got the latest Apex I feasibly could have. Here we go. Now Red Bulls and Slipstream still don't mix, huh? Good. Jeff, can you give me a full brief, please?
Second place. You're in second place. Hamilton ahead. 10 seconds separate you. We're dropping back by around 4/10 a lap. They're on fresh softs. Rosberg behind. 5 seconds separate you. They're on fresh softs. You have 4 laps till your pit window opens. 21 laps to go.
So on Super Softs, I'm slower than Mercedes on Softs. Makes sense. Good thing I made my moves at the start of the race. But on second thought, I don't think it matters. I bet Rosberg's going to catch me before I even pit. Yeah, I could already see Rosberg in my rearview mirrors as I was going in, so he's close. You got to remember, though, that we're not even racing him. My strategy puts me a whole pit stop down, unfortunately, and I have no idea how many positions I'll drop after my final stop. Wow! Was Gene Haas watching or something? Didn't realize you guys had a 2.3 in you.
We'll be doing one
I get to overtake somebody finally? Do you mean it, Mom? The sad thing is that it's just a blue flag. Now, I know I signed up for this with the whole alternate strategy and everything, but not only is it daunting as shit to drive in a vacuum lap after lap, but it's also really hard to keep pace without anyone to act as a reference. It feels very surreal to be lapping people in my second F1 race, to be honest. In GP2 and GP3, the races were short enough to where lapping wasn't really a thing. I was expecting to get lapped once or twice, but to be among the guys doing it definitely feels badass. I cannot for the life of me feel the car on the set of tires. Man, since Gene practically shits out money and connections, I should ask him to get in touch with Fallout Boy and ask him to change the chorus of My Songs Know What You Did in the Dark to Lock 'em up, rear tire. Now we actually get to find out where I will end up. The hope, honestly, is that I'll be on softs while the rest of the field is on mediums, so if anything, I should be able to gain back some of what I lose.
Okay, stay clear of the white line on the exit, or receive a penalty for dangerous driving if you cross over into the track.
Moment of truth. Okay, so who am I racing right now? Who's around me?
P6, we have P6, Verstappen ahead, the gap is 5 seconds, they're on fresh mediums. Verline behind, the gap is 7 seconds, they're on fresh softs. Pit strategy complete. See these tyres through to the end now, there are 10 laps to go.
Verline behind? Are you serious? I don't really know if I can make up the 5 seconds of Verstappen, though. Kind of afraid that if I push too hard, I'll completely murder my tires, and then I'll have to worry about getting overtaken by a Manor. Wait, did Verstappen just go into the pits? Was that him? I thought Jeff said that his mediums were fresh. So P5, I guess, then? I hope, at least. Now that I think about it, the softs actually feel grippier than the options. I'm not sure if they're actually giving me the same level of speed, but they do feel a lot more stable. That's fucking great. The race is almost done, and now I'm starting to gain confidence in the car.
Gap to car in front is 7.7 seconds.
And here I was getting excited about gaining back another position. Little did I know, it's just a lapped McLaren. The awkward moment when it takes you a whole lap to catch up to the car you're supposed to lap. I won't hesitate to admit, even for a minute, that the only reason all these guys are so far back is because of that pile-up in the first corner. Ironic how the guy that got run into benefited the most. Wait, so that's Mr. Eyebrows.
Fernando, Vincent is faster than you. Can you confirm you understand that message?
I'll take that as a no. Fuck's sake, Alonso, there are plenty of ways to let someone through, and that qualifies as none of them. Uh-oh. So Bottas behind me is setting fastest laps. That's concerning. Although he did cross the line when I was already past the first corner, so I think I have enough of a buffer. Wow. Those fireworks couldn't have been timed more perfectly. Thanks, Hamilton. Here we are, heading into the final corner of the race, improving our Australia result to take P6 or 5 or whatever. Our form is incredible for a newcomer to F1. Can't say I expected it, can't say anyone else expected it, but we're enjoying the hell out of it while it lasts. Fourth? Wait, what the fuck? Just try to complain, Jeff. I fucking dare you.
So, another fantastic victory for the Silver Arrows. Anthony, what do you think made the difference here?
Well, I think the track conditions just really suited their car today. Wind, track temperature, you name it. These cars come alive when the tyres are just at the right temperature. So the more easily you can keep them there, the better your race tends to go. And that's exactly what happened. Their car just looks so comfortable out there.
And after this round of the World Championship, Here's how things look in the drivers' table. Lewis Hamilton takes over the lead of the Drivers' Championship after an excellent result. Now then, Anthony Davidson, who was your driver of the day?
I think I'll go for Esteban Gutierrez. He showed his innate speed and it was really one of his best drives of the season.
On to the constructors then. Mercedes have extended their lead at the top of the standings. Meanwhile, Ferrari have improved their position. A strong weekend from them as they fight their way towards the top. After all this drama, you'd be mad not to join us for the next race. We hope to see you then. Take care.
Jeff actually apologized for not sounding excited enough on the radio. I couldn't help but laugh. That's great. The entire team's bouncing off the walls. 4th place is as good as a podium for these guys. That aside, though, looking ahead in terms of upgrades, we've got enough flow rate data to potentially be able to adjust our ignition system, but I think we'll just stack some spark timing numbers on top of it when we get to China, and that'll help us redesign the engine's ignition to boost power. Oh yeah, and Will told me to check my email. That should be good. Something about my last name abbreviation. Gutierrez, 22-9. I'd like to see Miller pull off that kind of recovery. Vince starts higher than your boy finishes. That's the whole point. I'd like to see Gutierrez not need a recovery. Oh, that's good. Wow. Yeah, that is, they got to put that on a shirt or something. That is definitely marketable material.